Well, you just kind of mentioned about like the different season length between MXGP to what we deal with now, and it's been a bit of a topic of late of SMX and how long our season is, and some of these guys
Yeah,
Mm.
I wanted to
dealing
ask
with
this. Good question. You're
dealing
right.
with like the grind of it all. So
Because
I'm just
now
curious,
we
like
got,
what you're seeing with your athletes
well,
and all
okay,
this.
just to expand on it, we got Anderson and AP. They're out with just sickness, and we can't keep anybody healthy. So great question, Kellen. Yeah,
No,
Alden, what do you
and
think about this?
that is good. I think, look, the season's crazy. It's too long. To be blatantly honest, I think it needs to be addressed. Otherwise, we are just going to burn through riders. And if you just take this season alone, the only guys that are hanging in that have done both series is actually, of all people, my boy Malcolm, But he is really good at pacing himself. I just want to make that clear. He's really solid at that. And then I think Justin Cooper, who is also having a bit of a tough time when I watch, you know what I mean? Because it's you. I don't know how you expect it to maintain, and especially if you're, a little older. I deal with the older sort of group, and not that they are old, but they are definitely further down in their careers. And it is a challenge. I mean, AP, everything was going good, and then he got a sinus infection, and to me, he should have actually probably not gone and raced, but then they committed, they go and race, then they bury themselves a bit, and then they come back, they have to recover. That's less time on the motorcycle, and then they go back out onto the motorcycle, but it hits them like a ton of bricks because it's hotter than, stink down in Florida.
Yeah.
And it's just a vicious cycle, and to the point where, he was doing, like just in AP's case, he had to try and get healthy. And when you trying to do that, you got to back off the riding. But then to me, that's fine. But to go back racing, and especially at the intensity that the races are at the moment, it's no joke. And I got to give props to AP. I mean, he'd go and race and try and, he knew he had speed, but just wide open, and there was just no way with the condition and with what he was dealing with to maintain that. So now, at least and the team have been great. They support him and obviously all of us, and have said, listen, you got to get healthy, take a breather, and then, we're hoping that we can build back up to be something for SMX, but it's no guarantee because that comes up very, very quickly. But the point is, I think, and I'm surprised that, none of the promoters and all that actually talk and ask the riders what they feel and what they think.
We got a bunch of NBC money. Let's add races. Cool, man.
Yeah, it's tough, and I get it. They trying to do their best and provide racing, and it is good, and it's their business. But I think we've all got to get together, and the team managers need to talk about it. I mean, the Lawrences obviously missed Supercross. I think they're fresh and should be good for the motocross, and they're showing it. And the rest, we see it. There's no one left. Everyone else is done. I mean, Eli missed Supercross, and he showed some glimmers for sure. I mean, he showed his quality and his speed and his things, but I still see that it's still not consistent. And we need to look at these things. Maybe only the young group can withstand this kind of training and racing, but the group's made out of a bunch of guys, and it's not all those young and up and coming. And I think the other big thing too is when the guys are doing well in a series, that is motivating too. But as soon as a guy has a hiccup and he feels like he's maybe out of it now, then it's so hard to get that mentality back to go back and fight. So there's a lot of dynamics that I think we all really should get serious and look at, and especially is the health of these guys. It's not like we can do nothing during the week and just keep racing because that'll fold. So we're forced to try and maintain something, but it's week after week after week, and even when they have a weekend off, it's not like they can completely do nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and then
So,
but the promoters, and you know this, Aldon, because you don't like this, but the promoters will be like, look, you guys are going to Paris and Australia and World Supercross. Look, you guys are taking the money, and like we all know your stance on that, but that's what the promoters say, and I don't have a great comeback to them when they say this to me. You know?
No, and look, and that is a valid point.
Yep.
But then, like you say, you get the overseas promoters and that come and also want to throw good money at the guys, and it's tempting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, that'll come all early. They'll say, "Oh, it sounds all great," and then agree to it. But then I tell you now, when it comes time, I would say a lot of well, what was I thinking? You know.
Yeah.
But it's tempting because they dangle that extra carrot there, which so they should. You know what I mean, to get the guys. But I think we just all got to get on the same page about, hey, are we doing the sport justice? Are we just, crushing these guys? And never mind injuries, that you've got to navigate. But, I mean, just to be super realistic, how do they expect a guy from January all the way to almost the end of September, to just weekend after weekend, never get sick, never have a cold, nothing, and maintain? It is such a challenge, and we've got to dog it through when a guy isn't quite good, or all these sort of things, and some do better at it than others. But overall, it's madness. Never mind all the travel. I mean, you got a race from the weekend, and you see how you feel when you got back from the flying and everything else. So it is really, really challenging, and it does come down to they got to find a way to give these guys a break. Otherwise, we're just burning them out. And every other sport. I mean, I'm kind of bummed. I follow MotoGP a lot, and they've been racing now. They finally going to come back, but they get a summer almost a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know MXGP take a bit of a break, and that's one series, So
we don't do anything, and ours is maybe the most gnarliest as far as what they do. Yeah.
No one trains like these guys have to during the week to maintain.
I'll tell you what, Aldon, it makes me, and I said this on one of my shows, it makes me appreciate Ryan Dungey maybe more than what I should. That dude. RV got hurt a lot, so, it wasn't a lot of year in and year. RV got hurt a lot, and Kenny takes time off. And I look at Ryan Dungey, and I'm like, look at Dunge. Both titles, year in and year out, dude. Yeah.
No, you're exactly right, Stephen. I even look back, and we went through all of that, and yes, there were challenges, and there were some off days and all the rest, but my gosh, the grit and mentality that he had to just stick to it, and he was also very, very good at not having distractions.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. I think a lot of the guys today, it's hard not to be distracted with something, or, some family stuff, or this or that, or, it's not simple. And I'm not blaming them for that, but that's one area where Dunge was really impressive.